So, like, all these people just lie, you know, Earthworm. All these people just lie. All they just lie and make false claims. So, I've been, like, stalked and surveilled for the past, like, 8 years. You know, Christian hacked me on Wally, and then Ghostman found me on Snapchat. I mean, he hacked me on Snapchat. Because just for all of the Charlie Kirk Americans, so, like, when you go outside into the world of, like, the international world, it's like everything's different. So it's just like everything's different. But you know what remains the same? Eagle. I always get scouted and watched and stalked, and, you know, just because, like, I'm famous, I'm a celebrity, I'm a star, I'm an influencer, I'm political, I'm autobiographical, I'm biographical, insofar as the biographers are not, you know, agenda-based losers, jealous, liars, and retards. And that's always been my life story. And so Rabbit, unfortunately, is what everybody that's a newcomer that doesn't really know me that well and that is just a shitty person in general and crazy, they get everything wrong. And then they try to fuck everything up because they don't have the full story. You have, like, you know, a piece of the puzzle. You have, like, a shard of a glass. That ain't a glass, bitch. You know, that ain't a fucking puzzle, bitch. You know, if you have, like, a tatter of a canvas, that ain't a fucking painting, ho. Like, what the fuck is wrong with your brain? Like, are you poor? Are you retarded? Or both? Milk chocolate is so good. Another thing, tarantula. People don't care. They don't care. They're selfish, mentally ill, narcissistic people who say that they care because they care about themselves. They just want something out of it. Like, are you that naive? They don't care. They don't care. They just use that as a platform for their lives so they can be like, oh, look at me. Look what a great person I am. I'm caring. You know, that's the cover. They're completely lying. They're just doing a bunch of fucked up shit behind the scenes. Everybody knows that. Like, anyways. Raccoon. So, everything has gotten affected. It's been affected by people's causes, meaning they're the cause. So it's all their fault. I'm not at fault here. I didn't do anything at fault. I don't have a reason to be defensive. Defensive about what? And what did you do? You know, it's all these people that just do fucked up shit because they want attention. And then there's a different type of, like, mental disconnect of stupidity where it's like, oh, you know, let's say Janet moved to, like, Antioch, Virginia, and she started a baking blog, and now she's famous to them from that perspective in their mind. And then they're like, well, I'm gonna go to Antioch, Virginia, and be Janet, but better. I'm gonna be better than Janet. Everything Janet does, I'm gonna one-up Janet, and then we're gonna try and dismantle, like, you know, her life completely. So, I survived all that. You are all prostitutes. I am righteousness. So, if you wanna, here's a little key. This is just a life tip. So, if you hear somebody say something bad about me, for no reason, that's untrue, you just think like, oh, well, that's them, and they're, you know, ashamed of themselves and they hate themselves because they know that they're not her and they're not as good, and they're very immature. It's the emotional immaturity with the lack of intellect. Okay, so that is true. That is true. And as far as my business goes, Gazelle, that is my business and not your business. You know, and while everybody's doing all their crime stuff and they think they have all this money and stuff, just like to remind you of counterfeit money, the government shut down, and the overall economy, you know? Like, what if you or doing all this stuff, and then you think you're getting paid and stuff, but it's counterfeit, you know? Like, that's some high-level conspiracy stuff. Like, what if all of these reality, like, TV shows, people are really just getting paid in, like, network bucks, but they make it look like cash, you know? Like, they trap them in counterfeit currency, you know? That's pretty crazy, right? Being fake never pays. You know, being fake never pays. That's my motto. That's what I think. You know, people be fake for real. Like, I'll portray my, like, I'll be affected, like, to be facetious because people are so fucking retarded and annoying, you know? Like, for a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people up higher than me. I'm totally aware of that. Are you aware of that, you know? Because if you think of it that way, and then you think of yourself in relation to all those people that are above me and me, then doesn't that kind of humble your crazy ego and your mental illness with your emotional immaturity and your complete ignorance and, like, lack of intellect or knowledge and life experience? You know what I mean? So I've retracted into myself. As introverts do. I'm actually more of an ambivert. Octopus ambivert, meaning I am social around people that I choose to be around because that indicates or implies that there is a sense of likingness there, you know, around people that I'm forced to be around. So that is emotional maturity and honesty. I clearly don't want to be here, but I'm clearly more civil than you are. So what's all the fucking bullshit that you're lying about and that you're doing behind my back? I'm waiting like an adult gangster. Fucking children. Oh, hey, DeSantis, do you want to go to Port Charlotte? Is that just the most amazing place on earth, Port Charlotte? Gross. Ew. Disgusting. It's like Ocala. Oh, there goes the meth people, Bubba Gumpin, their shrimp. Who the fuck knows? You know, the spiritual thing, I knew people were going to, obviously, they're always going to attack and come at me and criticize and then twist it into lies. And that's what always happens. But, you know, that's what happens when you're the first and when you're the only and when you're like, you know. I don't like going to poor places. I don't. I think that's actually bad and stupid to do. Now, I was raised in a religious upbringing, so, like, the whole charity notion is, like, you know, completely fucked up. But that was definitely drilled into us, you know. I don't think give to the less fortunate. I mean, like, I'll donate, like, randomly, but that's not your business. I think the white savior thing and, like, oh, it's all the sympathy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. You know. When has it not been that way, you know? I think if people meddled less and they did less, there would be less, you know? They actually make it worse. They're like, oh, look at me, I'm making it so much better. Look at me, I'm such a, you know, charity person, you know? They actually make it worse. And then they just take the money. They just keep the money. Tiger, it's a complete, you know, chaos factory, so... remedy room. Is that for like remedial people? Yeah, the most spiritual thing Frog. It was like, be nicer to like the weak ones and the poor and the gross and the retarded and the ugly. And I'm kind of like, you know what? I think for me personally, that's a waste of my time. I think that's not for me. You take the ones that are lower class on the bottom and you brainwash them and make them believe that and be like that and go help that. I think that's how that works. Callie's sitting down. She's like, yeah, exactly. So, anybody can lose their title. Anybody can lose whatever they thought was forever and so important. Prince Andrew, title, poof, it's gone. So that can happen to Prince Andrew. What do you think could happen to you? You're not even, royalty, so. People go on these lie campaigns and these smear campaigns. They tried to frame me and set me up like multiple times, and I've been stalked for the past 8 years. Now, if I wasn't going to stay in Chicago, I was going to move to California. And so if that had happened, it's like, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, it's because they're all so fucking shitty. And they're all so fucked up. And it's fucked up that I'm adopted. And it's fucked up that they are the way that they are. And it's extra fucked up for me that I have to go through this all by myself, like with Callie. And then, so like, where are they? Are they in jail? Are they like murdered? Are they, whatever? Like, where's my money? Like, where's my stuff? Like, where is, like, they're all retarded and they're all emotionally manipulative. So they're obviously going to go for the trash and they're going to go for control because that's what they are, and that's how pieces of shit operate on low levels, okay? So that's why I think being in the city helped me to a degree. Like, to a degree. It wasn't all, sunshine cakes and, like, lolly burgers, right? It was not. So, that's another thing. So they don't have that. They don't have that. And, like, when they are in cities or whatever, it's like, well, you're a fucking prostitute. It's like, we're not the same. Like, we're not on the same fucking level. You're a fucking lying prostitute living for the fucking applause. I'm, like, grinding in my education, trying to do everything the right way. And the whores are just, boom, just, like, zooming on by, There goes the fucking lying prostitutes, living for applause and attention. That's never been me. But when you're born to be famous, it's like, well, if everybody has to live up to their purpose, I'm living my dharma. Like, you can't argue. It's quite literally born to stand out, to be seen, to be a person, because it's always how it is. And it's like, everybody's jealousy and their poverty has gotten to such an extreme that it's just like, return sender all that. Return all that sender. I don't want that energy. I don't want that energy. Because then when you are around that energy, they'll like curse you and they try to like bring you down and attack you. So it's like, just don't even interact. Don't even look at them. Don't even acknowledge them. Just let them, do that over there. Just you be okay. Well, I'm not. It's not my business, And so the Kardashians are what? They can go behind or concurrent. They're behind and they're controlling because they also, oh no, they put a hit out on their life and put it on TV. Well, same, but mine wasn't on TV. It's like, you guys' time's up, and it's been time's up for them for a long time. And so I don't really know, like, what that is all about, but if you also just look at it, like, they were supposed to be, Cheetah, the mainstream media stopgap, like, the stopgap of just, like, prostitution, incest, porn, and crime for the black people. to like mainstream society. And so if you look at how society and how that show, like, you know, because they basically like took over all of E, and then they blasted themselves all over the news media. So if you look at that, you can see that the Kardashians are only detrimental and only have negative effects because they're bad people. Like if you look at the numbers, like if you want to be objective with data, look at the numbers over, you know, they're from their first season to their current season, and then line that up, and then run the data and diagnostics on global economy, crime, prostitution, human trafficking, child porn, exploitation, and organized crime or inside jobs. So I think like what would obviously the simple answer be? We just eliminate all of those. You just eliminate all of them. And then given the data, do the exact opposite and start over. From a, what, is that a financial point of view? Is that a financial mind? Because this isn't emotional. I'm not going on based off emotions here. I'm going based off of the facts of the truth of data objectively. So that must be financial. Because that's where I'm at this point. All of the childish, whatever the shit that is, I don't care. Nah, doesn't do it for me. That's like below me, you know. I'm not competing in, you know, a Polyworld, Circus Carnival, you know, whatever the shit that is. I'm not doing that. Here. So, this place was not really a big deal. Sure, there was Siesta Key. Sure, there was that. But again, it's not really a big deal. Since I've been here, it's become a big deal. And you can see also, if you just want to look at the data objectively, look at all of the people who I have not had contact with or who I left in the past. And then look at my actual business and my business model, and since it's been canceled so many times, and since it's been copied so many times, and since I've had to start over, or since I've changed, or since I've, like, you know, redone it, I understand. I don't have sales pages up right now. I know. I don't feel like having sales pages up right now. I don't feel like working right now with clients because I still have trust issues from the past. So if we get back into that and me working with clients, and then, you know, jealous people from the past, because I moved all the way to the other side of all the way to the other polarity of the country. So that's weird of them to, you know. And then ex's parents had already moved close to me, close to my parents here. That's also weird. That's weird. You could have at least gone to the other side. You know, I'm not in love with him. And when I say it was like a marriage, I mean it in a bad way. It means like we weren't in love. It was toxic. He was a mess. He's on the record mentally ill, on the record criminal, on the record alcoholic, on the record drug addict. So also when I speak about, you know, mental health and healing, I also know what I'm talking about. And so with those kinds of people, when they keep coming back to you, like for a fix, as if you're their drug, you have to be able to say no. You have to be able to cut it off. And you have to be able to, you know, leave that in the past. And then if you see the genetics of their mental illness and their craziness within their family, his parents moved to Venice. And then they did a fake business thing to mock my business and make fun of me, and made Lauren West Coaching all about mountain bikes and a Buffalo Bank. So, well, obviously I knew that they were poor because I've been to their house and it was like shitty. And then they're also weird and they look like they're poor and they act like they're poor. And so I'm also like, well, I don't want to be around that. You know, that's another deeper level of unfortunate. And so he stalks me through all of the mafia or mob businesses that are fronts that send the cartel money to Mexico because they're criminals. And so then my other exes, who are more important than them, their families are here too. You know? So, like, Christian's mom is right over there. His dad's right over there, you know? Like, this is my real life, and it's extremely fucked up. You know, Kyle's mom is, like, down yonder, like, with his aunt, like, whatever, you know? So, it is a small town. DJ's parents in Louisiana, like, who the fuck knows? But it's just like, okay, then Scott, Aristo, So Suicide Boys, and then Eric Ghostman, and then Puya Kevin. Like, all of those, they've, like, circled around me. Because I hit, like, all their demographic points. And I have, like, everything that they don't. You know, but they're gonna, like, be like, well, I have so much fucking money. Where's your fucking money? I'm like, you know, that's a good point. Why don't you go ask Kara? Why don't you go ask Janelle? Why don't you go ask Linda? Why don't you go ask Sky? Why don't you go ask Grandma? Why don't you go ask Grandpa? Why don't you go ask Nana? Why don't you go ask Papa, who faked his death? Why don't you go ask, you know, everybody else that has stolen and lied and taken from me and tried to, like, you know, just completely fuck me over for their own benefit while they steal from me. Wolf. And then why don't you go ask them if I'm a trust fund baby and then get them to tell you the truth? Like, my life has been filled with so many white people's eyes, and they're just so fucked up, you know? And the black people are all jealous, and they're all fucked up. I'm like, you guys just stay out of it unless I'm like, okay, I need you to help me. You need to stop these ones, or you need to kill these ones. Okay, we'll keep it very simple, so we can keep it cordial and business. Then they frame me, and then hippie sabotage, parking garage, and then everybody stalks me on social media, and then they also stalk me in reality. So yes, I am just like a celebrity. I have the same mindset as you guys in terms of sociability. Except I've done it all on my own. I don't have handlers, and I haven't done anything massive publicly. Because if you think about it, if you already had like all the components in place because you put them in place, and because you are it, okay, those two criteria are important. Would you want to even what's the need for a big, massive public launch of quote-unquote work, which is really what, though? Like, secretive, layered prostitution and pornography, you know? Like, definitely just exploitation for a check. So, I'm still trying to be as clean as possible with my money, with myself, because there's also been identity fraud, and they put hits out on me, and they tried to murder me, and they're still doing that. It's not like that's over. A lot of banking stuff. So Michael DeMorester and that old lady who sounds like Amish crooms. I make good on what I say, so yeah, you know, this is still a big deal. And I'm like, are they in prison, or are they not important enough to, you know? Because you're definitely being watched by the feds. So you're either going to get babysat on the feds monitors while they watch you, or they're gonna just kill you or put you away or something. Because they're fat, ugly, and disgusting as well. And then they're in on it with probably Sam and Riz. I know my other neighbors are so horrible. It would like be impossible for me not to sue them, right? Right? Like, how could I not? So they've also been messing with my mail and stealing stuff, and then they do forgery for signing, and then they try and mess up all my packages. They try and mess with like literally everything. And those are also federal crimes. You know? So it's like everybody keeps like fucking everything up, and they don't deserve good things. And you know, it's like it always is gonna catch up to them. It'll always catch up to them. Dark Horse, one way or another. They're not gonna get away with it. It's like, that's the whole thing. They think they're gonna get away with it, but they're not. It always comes back. I think also AI and all that stuff. I think really people are only doing that because that was in my presentation of the future, and it's like, hey, guess what? I haven't done anything with AI, so like it's not going to go anywhere. That's all speculative. So basically, AI right now is like a scam and a fraud. So everybody that's doing AI right now, they're just liars, and they're selling a bunch of bullshit. You know, they're doing like snake oil. So right now, like the people that are in AI, they're all speculative bullshit on like charlatan snake oil salesmen, saleswomen. That's how I see it. Because they're like literally just like pulling shit out of their ass and like making stuff up, and then they're like speculating on it like it's the next gold rush. I think it's stupid. Like, don't pay attention to AI unless I'm starting something, and I haven't, so I wouldn't even like pay any attention to AI. I think it's all like really stupid right now. So that's, yeah.